What you are about to watch is one part of a series recorded by well-respected psychic medium Anthony Grzelka, Australia's ghost whisperer. The opinions and views expressed throughout this series are based on Anthony's own personal beliefs. The basis of these beliefs has been developed through the 12,000 plus connections he has made with the spirit world.
I'm often asked about my readings and the work I do as a medium, and why do I get information that is, why is Mum talking about the red tiles I just used in the bathroom, and why isn't she telling me what God looks like, or some amazing epiphany of information? And I often use this analogy, and I say to people, well, okay, if your mum came through to you and said, hey, look, this is what it's like on the other side, and God looks like a frog. I wonder how easy that is to believe, rather than if your mum came through and said, hey, I know you've just renovated your house, I can't stand the red tiles you've used in the bathroom. That's something you can validate. It's something you can understand almost immediately. You don't know whether God looks like a frog. You don't even know if God exists. So for your mum to come through and say God looks like a frog, you can't really validate that. But you can validate the fact that Mum doesn't like the red tiles you've just used in your bathroom. The other thing that I think people need to understand is that spirits, your friends and family on the other side, they really do want to communicate. This whole idea of resting in peace, it just doesn't make sense to me. Spirits don't rest in peace. They want to communicate with us. They want to give you that information to let you know that, hey, we're still physically here. We still have a consciousness. We're still aware of you. We're still part of the family. We still want to be connected to you. And this is why I say to people, keep talking to your mum and dad. They may not be physically here, but you can continue a relationship that you have with your friends and your family, even though they've passed. They want to communicate with you. They want to have that connection to you. I often say to people, there's a lady that came to me for a reading not long ago, and she'd lost her son in a very tragic way. And her husband had completely closed up about it. He didn't want to know about it. He didn't want to communicate. It was, for him, it was dust to dust, ashes to ashes, and that was it. And yet, I said to her, look, it's important that you have your own connection to your son. And she would often go to the movies because she knew there was a movie that her son would really like, and she would share that experience as if she was doing it with her son. Now, there might be some people that think that's unhealthy, but I actually don't think it is. I think having that communication, really getting involved with that person, even though they're not physically here, and maintaining that communication and that connection is very, very important. The other thing that, and I can understand why people ask this question of me, and I can relate it to a story that happened to me a few years ago when a lady came for a reading, and she was talking to her mum, and she had this wonderful connection with her mum. It was really, really good and strong. And this happened on a Tuesday. On the Thursday, the very lady that I was talking to, who has had this great experience with her mum, had a massive stroke. And it put me in a real dilemma, because I was thinking, gee, why didn't her mum come and say to me, she's going to have a stroke, you've got to warn her about these things. Why didn't she give me that information? And for me, it was a real dilemma, because I'm thinking, I've got this wonderful connection, but why didn't she tell me? I could have helped her daughter. And after many, many weeks of soul searching and thinking, well, why didn't she tell me this information that could have helped her daughter? I really understood very clearly that it's very, very important that spirits don't interfere with our life here. There are some things they can't get involved in. Perhaps that lady needed to have that stroke experience. Maybe she needed to have that experience, and it was part of her learning as a soul here. And her mum could not take that experience away from her. It was important for her to have that experience. Now, I know people looking at this and watching this today might be thinking, well, what's the point in having a person on the other side that's there that can help us if they can't help us with those things? But it is so important to understand that you have a lesson, you have an experience here in this life, your soul needs to have these experiences, and there are some things your mum and dad just can't get involved in. It's important that they don't.
To watch more in this series, or for further information on Anthony, his books, meditation CDs, workshops, ghost tours, or to book a private reading, please visit whispersfrombeyond.com.au.